All right, guys, how are we doing this morning? Just to let you all know, I am recording this. So if you have to leave early or joined late or whatever, you'll be able to watch the full replay on YouTube after the session is over. I don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of time over analyzing Bitcoin, but as usual, we are going to start there first. We're going to take a look at some of the other metrics like I normally do. And then I thought it would also be cool to maybe go over some of the alts and stuff that I've been averaging in on and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. Let's bring up my, where is it? Here we go. All right. So let's come out to a weekly chart and just kind of take a look at what we have going on here. So since my 90-second analysis yesterday, looks like we're still basically just attempting to be closing over 42K this week. Not really any surprise there. It looks like the last couple weeks or so, obviously with bullish bars, that the bearish volume has been dying off. However, our indicators are still all bearish here. So again, I said this yesterday and I'll state it again now, unless we see any closes above 52K, rejecting at 52K or below is probably not going to be a good sign for Bitcoin. I would completely expect if we did reject here, to see something like this and see another continued move to the downside, to be retesting these lows, which so far we haven't really retested yet. So that's kind of what my thoughts are on the weekly chart. Obviously, this could take a very long time to play out. We just don't know yet. So at minimum, we're going to need this week's candle to close. If it closes above 42, we might see a little more expansion to the top side. If not, and we end up rejecting later on this week, then chances are we could end up closing below that for some kind of a fake out here and then continue lower. So that's kind of what I'm feeling on the weekly chart. Let's come down to the daily real quick. And actually, you know what? I'm going to switch to the daily. But before I get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at what the funding rates are and stuff, because I haven't actually taken a look at basically any of the price action on the lower timeframes yet today. I'm just getting started. That's why this is a morning bell live stream. So let's see. Negative. Bybit is increasing. So Bybit's definitely short right now. Huobi is flipping long. Okay, so a lot of inconsistencies here with this across the majority of the exchanges. Some are majority short, some are majority long. So that means that this top that we're at right now has been, for the most part, really choppy on the lower timeframes. Let's actually come to the liquidations and see how much has actually gotten swept out of the market in the last 24 hours. So very, very little has gotten swept out of the market in the last 24 hours. Literally under 160 million. Well, it just hit 160 million now. So very little volatility in terms of like sweeping liquidity out of the market. I think we're probably going to be due for something like that pretty soon. And I'll explain why here in just a second. But in general, most of the stuff that has been swept in the last 4 hours has been shorts. And it's kind of a mashup of longs and shorts on both sides between all of the exchanges aggregated. So let's look at longs versus shorts for the last 4 hours and see here. So Kraken is long. I want to say that's break even, but that's really long here. Bybit is also long. BitMEX is net long. Bitfinex is practically even. Deribit is really long. Even FTX is slightly long, and Binance is also slightly long. So last 24 hours, most of it is even, except in the last 24 hours, BitMEX was short. So comparing that to the last 4 hours, it looks like they're starting to flip over here just a little bit. So not really too much else to go into. Again, all these links for all of these things that I use, they're all in the hashtag important links section in the welcome category in the Discord. If you guys want to get access to any of these sites like coinglass.com and stuff like that. So pretty much done with that. That's really all I use this for, is getting an idea of what the funding rates are, where the liquidations are, and where the exchanges stand in terms of, like net long or short. Okay. So that's pretty much it for that. Let's switch over to scalp index. Again, the link is in the Discord for you guys. Let's see here. Hidden sell. These are all really small for the most part. Nothing incredible here. Nothing over 6 figures. So these are all really small. This one was over 1 million. This one's over 1 million. That was probably the same person. 1 million. So yeah, most of these are really small. So not any crazy spot volume. I mean, there is spot volume, obviously, but it's really low. Normally when you start seeing a whole bunch of orders like this, where it's like, hey, we've got like $7 million buys or sells or whatever coming in, and it's pretty frequent throughout the day or for a couple days, normally you can kind of get a better gauge on the higher timeframes of where the direction is going to be going, because spot volume is obviously going to influence that the most versus derivatives volume. So what I meant earlier by it's all derivatives volume is we'll switch over to highblockcapital.com. Oh, wow. There's actually nothing really to talk about on BitMEX here. BitMEX has gotten completely wiped out. So we're going to ignore that and go to Binance instead. Let's give this a refresh real fast. This is what I was talking about, guys. So whenever there's completely stacked liquidity, like liquidations like this on both sides of us, normally it means that the price action is going to be very, very choppy. And that's exactly what we've seen here, over the last day, 2 days or whatever. We had that fake out or whatever move to the top side, swept a whole bunch of 50 and 100Xs, kind of tapered off, went flat, and then came back and swept all of the long liquidity in the immediate area here, went flat again, and now it moved to the top side. But very, very little liquidity here has been swept on the way up. Now, this is what I was saying in terms of like spot. If there's a lot of spot volume, we would have easily been able to move up from here and start taking out the rest of these short liquidations to the top side. So namely this area first up to about 45K. And then after that, obviously we've got some all the way up to almost 47. Now, earlier this morning, we did sweep a couple 100Xs to the downside. However, the bears did not keep the pressure on, and we didn't sweep these 250X ones down at about 43,300 and 400. So I think that if the bears end up starting to put the pressure on, like seriously, and a lot of supply ends up coming into the market because the price action is so flat and choppy, people get bored, market makers are like, you know what, screw this. It's not worth me paying the funding on these big positions, and they exit. I think that would probably be a cause for us to start traveling down here. But again, just like I said yesterday in that 90-second analysis, 42.7, that's really the area to be watching, because if we start hitting that and we start breaking these lows down here, that's probably going to end up triggering some kind of at least partial liquidation cascade. I'm not saying we sweep all of this in one shot and, come all the way down into the 36,000 area. It's absolutely possible. But that's really rare. There would have to be a lot of, selling and supply coming into the market to make that happen. However, coming down into these levels around 41 or 42 and retesting the 42 area, and taking all of this liquidity out down here, that's probably going to be the most likely scenario in terms of downside is retesting some of these lows that we haven't retested since the price action was really flat over last weekend. So that's pretty much what I got for you guys on the actual liquidation. So let's keep that 42K level in mind. Let's also keep that 42.7K level in mind as we look here over at the daily chart, and maybe we can see some kind of confluence here. Okay, so without any indicators on the screen just yet, hold up, there we go. Let's just take a look at what our ranges are. Okay, so basically what's been happening is, and this was a really hard one to call. This is why I really thought that we were going to be continuing lower from this once we had this breaker candle. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough power for it to continue. I really was hoping that we were going to just come down here right then and just sweep these previous lows that we had, like during, June, July and stuff like that. That didn't happen. We actually bounced right off the midline. This was a really difficult trade for me to take here because I do not like trading midlines. It's the other reason why I'm kind of like sketched out up here at the top. We broke through this major level of resistance here between about 41.5 and 39K. And we've been slowly moving to the top side. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. We got kind of like this U-shaped recovery here, this kind of like sweeping bottom. Okay. I kind of thought that we were going to get a V-shaped reaction and then reject. We didn't. We kind of just grinded here and flagged, and then didn't validate the flag. We invalidated the bear flag here and broke out to the top side. Now this top, if you look at these candles over the last couple of days, we're starting to get more wicks and stuff to the top and to the bottom side. It's not really, it doesn't really make me too positive, bullish or whatever to see a really big spinning top like that. Normally that does symbolize tops, especially on a daily chart, but let's go ahead and bring up our volume here and maybe we can take a closer look. So it looks like from this candle, I guess this was on Monday. Yeah, Monday. So from Monday, Tuesday, and today, our bullish volume has been steadily decreasing and the momentum here on the KMAC is really, really low. Normally on a strong move, you want to see these really nice, big, momentum bars here. We're just not seeing that here to the top side. In fact, even on this big green candle that we got, very, very little, very, very little momentum here. It was a good volume bar, but I mean, after that, this volume's just kind of been slowly tapering off here for the last couple of days. We're getting a lot of wicks to the top and to the bottom side, lots of dojis on the other time frames. So it's not really looking too awesome there. Let's take our drawings off and take a look at Ichimoku Cloud. So yesterday I mentioned in the short video that we're probably going to be ranging and crushed in between this range between our 50 EMA and our 200 EMA. That's exactly what's happening right now. For all intensive purposes, our 200 EMA is basically like what I would call like a top for, like the short term. When I say short term, I mean like the month. Midterm for me would be like a quarter or two. Long term is like a year, 2 years, whatever. That's just kind of the way that I define like short term, long term and stuff. So right now, if you're not short, I'm currently trading on FTX and I believe I'm still in a short position. I think my stop is above this candle somewhere. It actually might even be above the 200 EMA. I'm not sure. I have to look. But for all intensive purposes, this is probably the decent range if you're an Ichimoku trader. This is probably the range that you want to be looking at to be laddering in to shorts here if you're trying to play, like shorting the bounces and stuff, okay? So that's kind of what we have there. Let's take a look at our visible range and see how many naked points of control we have. Oops. Okay, so we almost swept all of them down here. There's really only 3. Obviously, there's way more, like way below us, but we're not really too concerned with those right now. This is the reason why I really thought that we were going to come down further. Is it's really rare to see a couple naked points of control that you're so close to, like within $1,000 or $2,000, to just be left unswept. That's really weird. It's not a typical thing to happen, especially in legacy markets. Those normally always end up getting hit at some point and getting filled. Crypto, obviously, different ball game, different price action. In general, it's lower volume, so it kind of is what it is. Now, I will say that the ones that we have now below us, and I'm not counting today's. Obviously, we're going to fill yesterday's and stuff, but Mondays is still unfilled, and then Sunday, Saturday, and Friday. Okay, so actually Friday's got, or no, this one was Fridays, I guess. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? So basically all of these naked points of control from this current week still stand. The only one that we've swept is yesterday's, just because the price action is in that immediate area. So I do expect that one to obviously be confirmed as filled today. So basically what I'm hoping for is if we do make a pop to the top side, that would be up here, okay, right at about 46,500. That lines up pretty well with, I guess, the 200 EMA here, if we throw that on almost exactly, right? So it's right in between the 200 and the 100 EMA, and we've got a naked point of control there. So good confluence there with this. It's also a midline of this range that we've been slowly trying to creep into here. So there's a pretty decent likelihood that we do sweep this. So I might have to readjust my position now that I'm seeing this now, because obviously if my stop is right here, but that's where we're coming up to sweep, I obviously don't want to get stopped up there if that's where the potential rejection is going to be. But as of right now, very, very little reaction in terms of this little level of resistance that we have here at about 44K. Very, very little. It's just starting to get really choppy in here on the daily chart. But in general, I would be expecting that if we do see a retrace, to see something like that where, you know, we're coming down and we're sweeping these other points of controls that are in here, okay? Namely, these three, okay? So I guess basically down to 40K, 41K, somewhere around there. So again, that 42K level, you know, very, very, very important. I think that if we do start hitting these points of controls and we start closing below those levels on the smaller timeframes, there is a good chance that we could see a partial liquidation cascade and come down into the 40s here to sweep these other naked points of control. So let's come down to a 4-hour chart, bring up our indicators and break this down just a little further here. Yesterday I mentioned that, you know, this was probably the pop to be playing here up at this resistance level. If you're interested in shorting bounces and stuff like that. Now, while the RSI remains bullish here, our KMAC is very quickly tapering off. There is confirmed bearish divergence here, but we haven't actually really seen that play out. We kind of got this first dip and now we're just kind of moving sideways here in a very small range, along with relatively low volume here. Okay, so even for the bears, this is low volume. This is when it starts getting really choppy, when it starts getting really difficult to trade. If you want something to compare it to, you can compare it to this entire section here. Okay, when we're ranging in between the bottom of the range and the midline, bottom of the range and the midline, just kind of, you know, floating back and forth. And that was because we had a relatively low volume here. When the volume came in, that was the move here that we saw to that top side. Confirmation of that was this candle. So if you longed here, you still would have made pretty decent profit, actually. I guess that would have been what? Let's measure it. If you actually caught the top, you probably didn't. Most people don't. So let's say you exited here at the close of the confirmation of a bearish engulfing candle. Pretty standard place to close. I believe that's where my algo also went long as well for the spot. That was a 12% winner. So fantastic trade there. You know, nothing to shake a stick at. If you can make 12% spot within about a week or so on Bitcoin, that's really good. If you're trading higher timeframes, that's a fairly excellent trade in my opinion. But anyway, again, this level of resistance has been extremely important. And I really have these levels from way back here. Okay, so initially when we were first ranging, this was the range that we had. We actually never came up and tapped this a second time. We just made 2 consecutive lower highs and then the price collapsed. All I simply did was drag this over, okay? I didn't adjust this so that these candles are touching the exact top. That's just the way this has been because I use this candle high. So you can see how over time, if you're really good and you're accurate about drawing your areas of supply and demand, they are extremely reliable. And it is a very good technique to be incorporating into your trading. If you guys want more information on that, there should be obviously videos and stuff, support and resistance, tutorials and stuff like that. Not only in the Discord, they're all listed, but they should also be on the YouTube as well. So you guys know where to find those. Anyway, I wanted to do some drawings and stuff and maybe see if there was any classical charting patterns here. But at the end of the day, we really don't have too much. We're not really forming any kind of wedge or anything here. It's just kind of this, I mean, I guess you could call it an expanding diagonal here for a top if we really want to get technical about it. But I don't even really know how I like using this wick. I would probably want to start it from here, and then it starts getting a little weird. So not really a charting pattern or anything like that. It's really just this kind of slow, choppy price action here. So we're just going to have to wait. We need more information, obviously, on these higher time frames. There is 1 hour left to go on this 4 hour candle, so that's going to be the big one. Today is when this closes, just in I guess it would be at 11 a.m. here Eastern time. Okay, so let's come down to a 1 hour. I might take a look at the 15-minute after this, but I want to move on and take a look at some alts too. I don't want this stream and or the replay to be like an excruciating 45-minute long video. They get difficult to watch. It's hard. I know you guys don't have the time to dedicate to watch almost a movie length video on me drawing stuff on charts. It's a little ridiculous. So 1 hour chart, again, extremely hard to tell here with these big fake outs and then immediate retracements and stuff. And when I say retracements, I mean, this was a pretty large retracement off of this move. Okay. We did use the golden pocket as support here. Okay. So this was good for a long scalp. If you ended up measuring this and you caught this bottom here in the golden pocket, that was a really good play for a scalp if you ended up managing to do that. Now, from this top side move, it was basically the same thing, okay? We tapped that golden pocket. So we've been getting these like these algo trades, basically, like everybody that's playing golden pockets and stuff. We retraced, made a move to the top side, hit golden pocket, rejected. After that, moved to the downside, hit the golden pocket, used it as support. So since then, we've literally just been moving sideways in this range. We haven't been able to close above this 44.3 area on this lower time frame here. And at this point, that's not even the main area that we should be focusing on. The main area we should be focusing on is closing above these candle highs up here, which remain at about 44,885. Okay, so that's really, if you're long, that's if you were long from this golden pocket or whatever, or this golden pocket, that's probably going to be where you're going to be taking partial profits and or closing, or at least moving stops to break even or whatever. Because if you're not already long, it's more risky to take a long at this breakout. If you don't wait for some kind of a retest like this, it's more risky to do that than, just trying to be shorting at these resistance areas. Okay. So, nothing says that this little, red box or whatever is the only area of resistance here. Clearly there's also resistance up here now. Okay. So this one's just a level. This is an entire area. Okay. So, that would be a good spot for like a take profit for a long. Anyway, if we actually look again with this volume, it's just so disappointing with how little and how low this volume is. It's really, really bad through here. The volume is so low, it almost reminds me of this whole section back here where it was just really, really, really low volume. And this is because there's not really too much spot volume, just coming into the markets at all. It's almost all derivatives volume. As illustrated by this high block capital chart. I mean, this is all people that are long right now. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Like everyone is just stacking in just the leverage positions, and the derivatives volume just keeps stacking into the market. And normally there tends to be some kind of tipping point when that happens. Normally that volume ends up getting swept one way or another. So this to me is not looking very good. We're not even really forming like a diamond up here or anything. It's just really, really choppy. It's not even a triangle. I mean, you might be able to squeeze a triangle out of it if you really wanted to. But I don't know about all that. Not really a traditional triangle there. Let's come down, I guess, to a 15-minute. Oh, again, the other thing too is we're basically getting a double top here. And we're getting basically right? Like a flat top, but we're getting decreasing volume, and we're also getting bearish divergence here starting to form on the KMAC, even on this 1 hour time frame. So I'm going to have to watch this very closely and see how the actual KMAC develops on throughout the day. Because if you zoom in here, you can actually see that this is actually starting to curl over. Okay, so the bulls are already losing momentum here. We're still trying to be putting in green candles, but the volume is decreasing and the MACD looks like it's going to be flipping over. Okay, so those are kind of warning signs for me. I'm just going to be patient with the short that I am currently in manually. For those of you that are premium members, you should be able to see that in the open trades. I'm pretty sure it's still there. My stop is at 46,135. So my stop is pretty far off, actually. 46,135 is way up here. Okay. So if we come back up to that 4 hour time frame, let me just double check this for my own sanity on the daily chart. Yeah, so I might actually readjust my ladders for that because I don't want my stop in front of the 200 EMA. That's when you get moves like this, you get a little fake out and then the price flips over. Obviously, I don't want to get stopped out of the trade. If there's a good chance that we're going to be rejecting here. And so far on all these lower time frames, anything below a day, the volume is so low that if we do move higher, that's probably, in my opinion, going to be the top. This is the rip to be shorting. We started off with a ton of volume here. And ever since this move, we've been pushing higher, but the volume has just been dying off, as seen on the 4 hour, as seen here. Okay, it started getting really choppy and low volume in here. So not looking too great there. We're basically riding up on this lower time frame on the 1 hour. We're basically just riding this cloud up. Okay, so we're basically using the bottom of the cloud and or the 50 EMA as support here. Another thing that I do not like is a strong uptrend. You want to see the Kijun and the Tenkan-sen line really far apart from each other like this, right? Once these lines start getting closer and closer and closer together like this, and then the price starts moving sideways and the lines start crossing, we actually do have a bearish TK cross here. Okay, so this actually only was just confirmed on the 9th. So, just, I guess, earlier today, earlier this morning, 6 a.m. Before I was even awake this morning. So we do have a confirmed bearish cross on this. And then we put in a nasty hammer at this top. We've got a spinning top as our last hourly candle. So this is starting to look a little sketchy to me. I'm not going to be married to my short position. I mean, if this goes for a run, that's fine. I'm pretty sure one of my algos, at least one of them, is probably already long for this. So that's completely fine. I don't mind that, but I will continue to leave that short open as a small hedge, and maybe move my bids around so that my stop is not in front of the 200 EMA there. So 15-minute chart is even more jacked up here. The volume has been really choppy and all over the place. This is not fun price action to be trading. Unless you were shorting somewhere here at this top, and this was your play, or maybe you caught this and you're still holding long or something. Those were really the only two plays in here. But for the most part, this you got chopped up in. If you weren't short from up here, this chopped you up. This probably chopped you up if you were trying to be shorting bounces or whatever. I know that happened to me. I actually got stopped out on Monday. I was shorting this lower high. We got that initial reaction. I took half profit, didn't move my stop at break even, and then ended up getting stopped out up here. And then this is where I re-entered that short yesterday. Was I just re-entered it higher because we didn't make it past this resistance level. And now just really, really shit looking volume. Okay. So that's pretty much what I got for you on Bitcoin. Let's go ahead. We'll take a look at some alts real quick. Switch over here. And now I'm gonna look at these for the most part on like the daily charts and the 4 hour. And the reason why is because you guys know that I don't really trade alts like that. Okay. For the most part, I ladder in to alts into projects that I really like and kind of keep forever bags, if you guys want to call them that. AMP, I'm still waiting for. I really think that this could go lower. I might end up start averaging in on this now just because it has come down. I don't know. Let's measure what the percentage is on this. So from its highs, it's about 64% off from almost the top to almost the bottom. So this is probably something that I might end up averaging into now because I don't want to miss my chance down here. So I might end up accumulating a small bag of this. But in general, we're putting in a lower high here and starting to form, kind of like a triangle looking formation here. So it would be my expectation that even if we did put in a higher high, without the volume, we're probably going to see this area here act as resistance. Okay. See some kind of a rejection and then a play out, to validate or semi-validate whatever this potential, proposed triangle here. So that's a possibility. That's one of the reasons why I want to wait. But if this does break out and we invalidate this pennant as a continuation, and we're able to flip these levels into support, then I want to have gotten in down here. So that's kind of what I see going on with AMP right now. RSI and KMAC are both pretty much stagnant. The MACD is bearish though. Atom, pretty much the same story. If we really zoom out here, where was our actual top for the year? I guess up here, and then we double topped similar to Bitcoin. So if we measure this to our low, we were chased about 55%. Currently, we're at about 30%. And on this bounce, before this bounce that we just got, it was about 42%. So this looks kind of like consolidation to me. Earlier in the year, I did get my initial buys here. Okay. However, I'm not really too sure if I want to be buying up here because for the most part, this is the top. So I think I'm not going to be averaging in any more onto Atom and stuff. I really do think that the entire Ethereum ecosystem is due for a major like bloodbath. I really do think that it's coming. And just a lot of these alts are just so overextended now. That's the reason why I'm just trying to be patient with these. That's the reason why I'm not really taking too many trades on them. And if I am, I'm just accumulating. Link, one of my favorites. You guys know me. I'm super about the dinosaur coins, right? To be honest, anything under Link, anything under $20 for Link is a really good buy, in my opinion. What was our high? This was our high here. Let's go ahead and measure this. So from our high to our low, wow, we got 74%. Okay, that's actually quite a bit. I didn't know it was that much. And to our previous low, our most recent one, about the same amount, about 74%. So currently we're 65% off of the highs. So this is something that I've been accumulating for a very long time. I mean, I first initially bought this like way back here in 2018. So it's not like I'm really pressed to be adding that much to the huge bags of Link that I already have. But again, this has just been very choppy here on this daily chart. We've been stuck and we're still stuck in the upper range, of this descending channel here. And we've been in it since, May. So it's been quite some time. But again, Link up here it's starting to get a little overvalued in my opinion. My initial bags that I bought in 2018 and 19 and stuff, I actually took profits, pretty big profits on those once we hit $50. I know that Link has a lot going on for it. It's it's one of those really good like layer 2 applications, but in my opinion, I think that this still has some way to go here. Let's measure this with a fib real quick. So from this swing consolidation, we did tap our golden pocket twice, and we're using that as support. I wouldn't like to see if price action comes down and test those areas again around $12, $14. there's a pretty good chance that we could be breaking down from there, lose this midline of the channel and be coming down into here to basically be retesting these areas in here, okay, between basically like $10, okay, to be retesting $10. So if you're looking at adding the link, you could do so here, but I definitely wouldn't be going in with like, a massive amount. I'd probably be waiting for lower because again, alt looks like most of these other link looks like most of these other alts where it's been basically up only for a very long time. And it's never really seen like too hardcore of an actual retracement here. To me, I'd love to see $5, but at the end of the day, long term, and I mean over years, anything under $20 for Link is probably going to be a good buy. Sol, I'm still waiting for. However, this was a really solid move to the downside that we had. We did recently just bounce off of this previous little consolidation area over here, and then we regained this important breaker high. And we've regained that. So this area has now flipped into resistance here. And again, with the volume and stuff on the daily chart, the bullish volume actually looks a lot better here. But again, it's really, really losing all of its momentum here come this top. And yesterday we actually just put in a bearish engulfing candle. And today so far, it actually looks like it's forming some kind of a spinning top or a doji so far. But anyway, Link, again, it's another really, really good project. But I mean, this thing has just gone so far so fast that I'm kind of losing confidence in any more sustainable upside to this for the midterm, like, throughout the next, quarter or two. I think the best that we get is probably seeing something similar to Bitcoin, where maybe we end up getting back up to here into like the 180s or 175 or something. Do something like this and then see a hard rejection. And then that would be the moment where, okay, if we don't break this low from another rejection and this low holds, then that would definitely be okay. We're not going to be going deeper than that. And it's time to, get a bag here. So I have already been averaging into this. I think my last bid was down here at about $100. So I'm fine with that. It's up from my bid there. And I think I got it previously in the year. It was somewhere down here. It wasn't in the 30s, but I think it was up here. I caught this breakout. I got it for like $50 or something like that. So my average buy-in now, I guess, would be 75 or $80, something like that. But in general, again, if we measure this from top to our bottom of this retrace, again, 70% in total, and we're still sitting at about 55%. So that is a pretty decent retracement percentage wise. Dollar value wise, I would like to see this come lower, but percentages obviously in trading are more important than dollar value. So a 74% retracement is pretty solid. Taking a look at Serum, basically the same story, except this one has pretty much been consolidating. Now, this one is looking a little worse to me. And the reason why is not only did we get a perfect double top up here, I don't know why that's up there. Should be here. Anyway, we did get a perfect double top. However, we just put in a major lower low here, which is not a good sign. When you see alts doing this, that's not good. Most of the big players and the market makers that are in alts or have sizable bags, when they see that, they're looking for pumps to be getting out. I can almost promise you that we're probably not breaking this high anytime soon up here at $4. You're talking about a 50% price increase from there, but this coin has absolutely gotten fucking slammed on this move to the downside. So from our top to our bottom, we're talking a whopping 86%. Okay. So I did buy down here at this line again. Okay. These lines were my buy-ins. So I did get in under 250, which is nice. Currently that's up, but obviously, if this goes lower, my big buy-in is going to be this support level down near $1.50. Okay. If I can hit these levels around $1.30, $1.50, I will be very happy. And I'm a huge buyer at those levels just because of what Serum is, what it does. And, just based on the project fundamentals. take a look at SXP. Okay, so SXP is one that broke down out of this this triangle here. I actually haven't looked at this in quite some time, but it looks like my spot bids must have filled. This was another one that I was trying to get in around $1.50. So from top to bottom, we measure this one. So we had an 80% retracement on this one too. So this, honestly, SXP, I don't think that this has even really gotten started yet. I don't think that this is going to be something that just chops around like this and goes sideways forever. I don't think it's going to be one of those coins. I think that this, when we do see like another alt season or what have you, this is the kind of thing that I think it's going to rocket to like 25, 30 bucks. So anything, you know, obviously under like $5 is a fantastic buy to me on this project, again, based on fundamentals. And we are putting in, that was a terrible line. And technically we are putting in a lower high here. If this low holds, we'll have a lower high here. Okay. So seeing some kind of reaction from here is really good. Originally my trend line was here, but we obviously rejected and broke lower. So I'm actually readjusting that trend line to here because it seems like we're getting a slightly stronger reaction than we did. But again, with this volume down here and the indicators for the most part going flat, no momentum, that there's a real good chance that we just do not make it past these previous highs at about 225. I think we'll be lucky to get above $1.75 on SXP. So again, you know, my next target buys here are, you know, $1 and under. I'm not going to go over VET. We'll do Algo though. Algo is another one of my larger bags. This thing has also just been on an absolute tear. However, this was like a massive double top here, considering when it launched and was listed on exchanges. So, okay, didn't quite get the golden pocket. Okay, so this was actually my next buy-in here. I don't know if this was in one of the last I think it was in one of the last videos I did. But I was basically saying, okay, if this level of support here that we have on the lower 4-hour time frame, if this breaks down, chances are we're going to be hitting that golden pocket. My bid obviously did not get filled here. I got front ran by, I don't know, 1,000 sats. So it's kind of disappointing. Again, this was one of my bags from earlier in the year that, you know, I was in from, you know, down here somewhere, you know, 35 cents or whatever. So I'm not super pressed to be adding to this. But for long term, I really want to be trying to get in this for under $1. Okay, so my last add-in filled here at $1.15. And then this has not filled yet at about 65 to 70 cents in that golden pocket. So I'm probably going to have to wait for that. But honestly, the way that this kind of arced over and just slow bled and then got its like first real drop here, this is probably just going to end up flagging or something and then breaking down at some point. Okay. Again, very low bullish volume here on this pop. It's not looking too great. And the momentum is basically nowhere to be found. Alts have been hurting really bad. AXS. I mean, this is literally the definition of a shit coin. I mean, their game is garbage. It's garbage. Who's going to pay $400 to play some shitty 2D game, right? There was a lot of hype about this, obviously. I mean, it went for a serious run, but obviously this was like in the height of the bull run where everything was in up only mode. And now immediately, this is one of those things that it just immediately started flipping over and dying off. Again, compared to here, we have put in a lower low. This is another one of those things where the momentum is so low and on every little pop, just the bullish volume dies off so quick. I'd be really hard pressed to say that we're closing over $80 anytime soon. That's going to be the major resistance for now. I would be looking to be shorting here. Okay. And again, the reason why I'm shorting these, like, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out, right? I do this all the time. Flip your chart upside down. You know damn well that you would be longing this dip here for a double bottom, right? Okay, it's no different when the chart is correct and it's right side up. That's the double top that you're shorting here in expectation of a retracement. Okay. It doesn't take a genius to figure these things out. Look at your candles, look at your volume, look at your momentum. I don't give a shit about this KMAC in terms of the 2-line crosses. Okay. That just means that there might be that's just confirming a change in momentum. What you really need to be looking at is these oscillator bars. Okay. That's what's defining the momentum. That's how you're able to tell if the momentum is weak or not these fucking 2 lines. Everybody gets so caught up with these 2 lines. Oh, it's a 2-line cross. You just short when it crosses. No, I mean, you can, but it's not a very good strategy long-term. Like you're going to get hurt if that's your strategy, but implementing your KMAC. I really only look at the oscillator here and I just use the 2 lines as a confirmation. Okay. And normally I'm more interested if they're crossing into bullish territory or into bearish territory, which is below or above the 0 line. Okay. So again, yeah, candles, volume, momentum, very, very easy. And then RSI, I pretty much just use it for looking for divergence and stuff. Okay. But anyway, this is a product that I think has already had its main run, unless they really start innovating and they really start doing some big things. This is the kind of alt that I've just been paying attention to be shorting bounces on, and we haven't gotten the pop up to here yet. So $80 is probably my short sell for that. Let's take a look at Polkadot. Oh man, these levels have been just playing out beautifully here on Polkadot. Most people do not enjoy trading Polkadot because of how choppy it can get. But at the end of the day, this is one. If you remember the other alts that I was just going over, most of them were making lower lows compared to this first drop that we had, back in June, July, right? Yeah, Polkadot did not do that. In fact, it was a massively higher high compared to here, okay? And in fact, the difference was, about 55%. That's a lot. So a 55% higher low than from back here. That's substantial, okay? That's nothing to shake a stick at. From our top to our bottom here, our most recent top to bottom is about a 70% retrace from the one that we had back in June, July. That one was almost 80%. Okay, so are you starting to see a pattern here? 55%, 80%. Okay, those are the levels to be watching for. 80% is a very, very, very known and predictable retracement amount for a lot of alts. If you're measuring from tops to bottoms, and then you see price action develop, even if it made a double top here, but it retraces, if you're seeing a reaction for a higher low and that ends up getting confirmed, then, it's probably in a pretty good spot. Now, this is another one that the volume has actually been halfway decent here. But again, the momentum is fucking gross. It looks terrible. But the candles are stronger. Okay, so this is kind of a neither here nor there for me. I did pick this up. I had bids down in here for about 1550, 1580 or whatever. So I'm assuming probably at least a couple of those got filled. But in general, yes, I would absolutely like to see this come back down to $10. Am I going to get that? No, probably not, because now you're talking about another drop of 52%, and from our highs, you're literally talking about, another, continuing this drop for another 80%er, just like we had over here. So I don't think that this one is going to end up doing 2 80% drops back to back. That's even more rare than an alt hitting an 80% retracement, is getting 2 back to back. Very rare. Normally, if you start creeping down into those areas, normally you're going to see a full-on breakdown, a full-on reversal, and this thing, is going to $5. I don't think that that's happening with Polkadot. It's too big. It's almost too big to fail at this point. Let's see here. FTM. Everybody's wild about FTM. The long-term chart for this has just been a doozy. Just, bull flag after bull flag. And now we're kind of seeing this weird consolidation here where we've got like a slightly lower high, and it looks like maybe we're forming some kind of a triangle at this top. I really don't like trading triangles because they invalidate really easily. But in general, this has not even come anywhere close to my targeted buy-ins. I know FTM is great. I know it's a great protocol. It's great for staking and all of that DeFi stuff or whatever. But this is just not low enough for me. Now, long term, again, it's $2, right? It's basically a penny stock. It's a dollar stock, basically. Like, it's super cheap here. So I don't necessarily have an issue with it. It's just, if I was going to be accumulating, I have bags of FTM, but I would really like, if I'm going to be adding a lot of fiat to this, then I want this at $1 or under. I do think that we get that at some point, especially if this triangle breaks down. But for now, it's kind of been holding this midline of this upper range here while we're kind of seeing this this consolidation. Okay, so good news is that so far it's making a higher low compared to here. Bad news is it's in a triangle. Those invalidate pretty easily. And, if we see a rejection at these levels again, chances are that's going to break down, and then I'll get my buys in down here. But again, all these alts, these are the kinds of things that has trained me and taught me patience. And I hope that it teaches you some patience as well. We'll go ahead and do the rest of the ones that I have starred for this morning. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream and upload the replay for you guys. Spam phone call. Lovely. Okay. Just to give you guys some idea here. Okay. Wow, what a doozy. Okay. So, again, FTT, anything under probably $50 long term, really good buy. I don't necessarily want to be buying right at $50. And also this V-shape, that's a very strong V-shaped recovery, but it looks like we're stalling here. So again, we have to rely on our candles and we need to take a look at our momentum and our volume. So the volume started out high, and then on this next push, it's been decreasing. So that's not a good sign here. Reaching basically, resistance, this major area of resistance up here. Lots of bearish hammers that have formed here on these tops. That's not a good sign either. Technically, the KMAC crossed bearishly. It's in bullish territory though. Same thing with the RSI. But doji, hammer, spinning top. Those aren't really bullish candles. You know what I mean? Like, a bullish candle is this, like, you want a nice green bar. Or like, bullish hammers and long wicks to the bottom, showing that there's absorption there and showing that there's buyers there. This shows weak price action. That's what that is, especially at resistance. It's kind of expected here. Now, again, if you flip this chart upside down, what would you be doing? Chances are, if this was upside down and it came from here, chances are you would be longing this support, right? To me, again, you guys know I don't really trade alts like that with leverage and stuff very often. But if it was me, I'd probably be shorting at this resistance here. It lost too much momentum. The volume is tapering off here. The RSI doesn't have too much more room to go to the upside. It's had a huge recovery, and now it's kind of tapering off. So for me, this is technically a short. Solid invalidation here if you are interested in shorting this, because you could basically call a break above these candles. Okay, your invalidation. And then you could have this as a ladder. You could enter here. That would make your setup look something between here and here. That would make your setup look something like this. Okay, nice little 2-to-1 setup, 24%. Not bad. Again, this is spot, right? If you can't swallow a 10% loss on spot, then either your position sizing is incorrect, or your portfolio is too small, which means that your position size needs to be smaller. I'm talking spot trades here, guys, not leverage. I'm never going to have a potential 10% loss on spot for a leverage trade, because even at 2x, now you're talking 20%. That's starting to get very serious. You don't play that way. That's gambling. We'll take a look at Matic real quick. I'm going to skip Mana. Mana has literally not had anything going on with it. Okay. There's really not too much to say about this. This is another one that just made another lower low here. So I would be expecting this to be forming. Actually, let me just draw the parallel channel real quick so I have it for later. Here to here and to here. Okay. So that's pretty much what that looks like to me. We could even actually drag this over just a little bit. So we got the whole thing. So this kind of reminds me of what Link has been doing. Daily chart has been kind of floating around here, defining a range, defining a channel. These channels on daily charts and stuff like that, they're very, very important here. Okay. Just like actually my drawings are still here, but it was before I changed my layout back to the dock side. But here was a very important head and shoulders. Okay. And this was it looks like this was the neckline here. Okay. There was a very important head and shoulders here. Again, head and shoulders, you want to do it not by the wicks, but you want to do it by the candle closes, right? So you guys know I love head and shoulders patterns. So, that ended up playing out. Okay. So normally, if you start seeing classical charting patterns or stuff like that, if you got a low, you got a lower low, then you got a higher low, chances are you've got some kind of a reversal pattern there. Okay. That's exactly what happened. We got an initial pop, a retracement, retested these supports in here, and then shot up literally like straight up to the top side here and then started entering a new range. Now, here's the dangerous thing with this. Clearly, there's support in this level at this high. However, if these lows break, this is going to come back down into here. Okay, so this would be a very key level for you. Actually, I'll just draw a box here. This would be a very key level for you. Okay. What the hell is going on? This area here. Okay, basically between $1 and this area. Okay. That's way too low. I meant this one. Okay. This area in here. Clearly, that's a solid level of historical support in here. So that would be like for me, yeah, sure. Mana up here. Again, it's one of those coins that it's like anything under $5 long term is probably a pretty good buy. However, and Decentraland is actually doing a lot of really awesome things. I think this was actually a news event that caused this, but this was really good to break to the top side like that and make a new range. However, I don't know about this. So from this breakout, this would be your wave 1. This would be 2. This would be wave 3 from here. So that definitely makes that the longest, right? 2,295%. No. Okay. I don't know. Elliott wave, I would have to go in here and figure this out. But in general, let's take a look at our volume again. RSI is tipping over. It looks like we had the majority of the run of the bullish volume. This could be tapering off, but we could also just see something like this where we come down and we retest these, this area in here for our midline, and then, come back up for more to be retesting this. We would probably reject there, but it would be a higher high compared to this, which actually would be good. So, but again, no momentum here at all. It's just really, really low momentum on a lot of these. I'm not going to go over a whole bunch of the rest of the shit coins. For the majority, the market is green today. It looks like this was ripping from the bottom, hardcore like this. Whatever the fuck Smooth Love Potion is. I get, apparently it's some token for some game or platform or something like this. This thing has just been getting absolutely demolished. So that's kind of funny that this one is actually running today, but it basically went straight up, and now everything is starting to be overbought immediately. And again, still the momentum is so low. That's not a sustainable move for the long term. I don't think it's probably going too much higher than that. It's certainly not making it past this. So we'll make this 2 and we'll make it red. I don't think it's making it past 35 cents. So that's definitely between here and there is definitely a short for me. I have no real interest in Smooth Love Potion and holding a bag of that, but that's kind of the state of the rest of the market. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and I will get this replay uploaded for you. I hope that you enjoyed all of the different charts, including Bitcoin, as well as all the alts that I went over, and I will see you in the next one. Happy trading.